Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out VeChain's chart. And if you remember, in the previous video, we were right around this area. And the idea was that maybe we are going to have another move on the upside. But then after it, I'm counting on a move down. Why? Because in this phase, we actually took this important slow down here, indicating this whole move up is a correction. And it means, well, our move down, unfortunately, is going to continue. And on it, at least we are going to take the lowest slow down here, about 2.6 cents. But probably we are going to go a bit lower than that. And we talked about this potential target somewhere around, let's say, the 2.5 cents area. Now, what happened? We did get our move down, and sure, in here we didn't get like another small move on the upside, but that doesn't really matter. What really matters in VeChain is this. As you can see, in this phase, in the last, let's say, 24 to 48 hours, unfortunately, we took this important low, and this is really, really bad. Why is that? Let's go around here. You see, if you want to say that we're going to have our final low around this region, maybe this is like a very important support, then okay, off of the lowest low in here, you need to be able to find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. This specific example is an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. Now, sometimes we can have other kinds of 5 waves. For example, you can have a wedge structure, and in that case, this is our wave 1, and this time it must be the biggest wave, correction for wave 2, another move up into wave 3, it has to be smaller than wave 1, correction for 4. Unlike a normal 5 wave in here, we must have overlapping of the waves, and wave 4 has to be smaller than wave 2, and this is our final move up into wave 5, which is going to be the smallest wave in this structure. And again, notice, even in this example, wave 3 is not the smallest wave. And here is our final example of a 5 wave, and it's called an expanding leading diagonal. This is our wave 1, which is, unlike this scenario, the smallest wave this time. Correction for wave 2, big move up into wave 3, it's going to be bigger than 1. Correction for 4, once more, we are having overlapping of the waves like a wedge structure. This time, wave 4 is actually bigger than wave 2. Basically, we are having the opposite situation of a wedge, meaning in this case, our wave 5 this time has to be the biggest wave in this structure. And again, notice in here, wave 3 once more was not the smallest wave, okay? Wave 1 in here was the smallest wave, in here wave 5 was the smallest wave, and in this structure doesn't really matter whether wave 1 or maybe 5 is going to be the smallest wave. The main point is this: wave 3, again, like we said it earlier, under any kind of circumstances should not be the smallest wave. And that brings me to what is happening in this area in VeChain. Let me ask you this: how exactly now are you able to find from the lowest slope down here, about 1.75 cents, a 5 wave on the upside? You see, your best shot at finding a 5 wave is if you say, maybe this is one, correction for wave 2, another move up into wave 3 to about here, correction for 4, and yet another move on the upside into wave 5. And since in this area, we are clearly having overlapping of the waves between our supposedly wave 4 and 2, and also since wave 4 is clearly bigger than wave 2, okay, that narrows our option to pretty much one choice, and you know it is an expanding leading diagonal. Now, pay attention. Earlier, we said wave 3 should not be the smallest wave, and well, let's put our chart on regular first and then start measuring waves. Let's measure our wave 3 from this point to about here. Is it smaller than this supposedly wave 5? The answer is yes. Is it also smaller than our wave 1? Unfortunately, as you can see, the answer is by a very small margin. Let's just zoom in more so you can see it a bit better. There we go. By a very small margin, the answer is another yes. So this means this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is now your best shot at finding a 5 wave, is actually not allowed, because wave 3 in it is clearly the smallest wave, indicating overall now whatever move on the upside in VeChain that we are having, most likely we're going to say it's a correction structure and not an impulse, suggesting unfortunately our move down is not over, and at one point we're going to get a good move on the downside in order to probably take the lowest low down here about 1.75 cents. And I want to be very clear, sure, in the short term we may have some pain, but overall, when we do go down and hit the lows, that is going to be, from my point of view at least, probably a massive buy opportunity, because in here the risk to reward ratios once more are going to make perfect sense. And for example, let's say you want to buy VeChain right around the lows, about like maybe the 1.8 cents area. What is going to be your stop loss? Let's say you want to be like extremely conservative and you want to put your stop on there, let's say even this low down here around, let's say the 1 cent area. So essentially you are having about a 0.8 of a cent for your stop. On the other hand, what's your target? Well, if you want to have a decent target, I think you can get help from Fibonacci's, and let's just do a quick analysis in here. A likely target for the next phase up can be somewhere between the 50 to 61.8% of the Fibonacci retracement level of this move down, and that's kind of the bare minimum target, and this is giving you like a 5 to 5.5 cents VeChain. So essentially in your trade you are having about a 0.8 of a cent for your stop loss. On the other hand, around a 3 to 4 cents for your target, meaning your risk to reward ratios are about 1 to 5, 1 to 6. And I don't know about you guys, for me that is absolutely great. And if I do trades like this long enough, overall I'm going to end up making quite a bit of money. So in the short term now in VeChain, unfortunately, because recently we took this important low, I am going to be a bit bearish and counting on a continuation of this move on the downside in order to possibly take the lowest low down here about 1.75 cents. But in the mid to long term, the story is very different. I am overall absolutely bullish and optimistic. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in VeChain's chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.